Cech. I'm a professor of chemistry at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. It's one of the really beautiful things about having a research group is that you have people who come in and then spend time and eventually become the people who are teaching the new people. So there's that constant sort of turnover of the student becomes the master, and it's really satisfying to watch that evolution with the students.
So my name is Warren. I'm a fourth year PhD student in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry here at UNC Greensboro, and I'm taking PhD in medicinal biochemistry. So we're trying to find molecules in complex mixtures that work together in order to cause potentially a medicinal effect.
My name is Empress. I'm a senior and I'm a biochemistry major. My primary project is working with Tenera diffusa, which is a flowering shrub native to South and Central America and Mexico. I'm just studying the effects that it has on methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, which is essentially a strain of Staph aureus that has become resistant to antibiotics, specifically methicillin.
In all of the years that I've been working in Cech Lab, my experiments always fail, but in every failure, I learn something. With Cech Lab, actually the group is very supportive as well. Simply just hanging out with them, talking to them in the lab with random thoughts, anything just to divert your attention from loneliness or sadness from being homesick and your bad data. Just having this group of people around you, that you can just talk to, and just anything, any topic, it does help.
I feel like I'm very grateful for the experience. Me just being in Cech Lab has shaped my life in a way that I didn't really expect. I've made friends in lab, and then I've been able to just recently going to ASP has made me be I made so many connections there, and some people were really interested in my work. A lot of people were these are things that I wasn't doing until I was a PhD student or something. I didn't do this as my undergrad, and it's really cool to just kind of see that how the people that I've met in Cech Lab have prepared me so well for the future when I came from being so overwhelmed with all these options and choices. Just being around people who are it's okay, we can just kind of start from scratch and work our way up, and the more you learn, the more you can kind of decide what you want to do, who you want to be. You don't have to know right now, and it kind of eases you when you're just, because it's so hectic. And then it's just now you're just kind of calm. Everything is calm. Everything is fine.
And it also helps to have a very supportive mentor like Dr. Cech. She just knows how, when you're feeling down or something, she just knows how to say the right words. So she's very empathic.
It has been completely a delight the entire time. One of the things I love about Warren is that he has such an attitude of gratitude. He's always expressing his appreciation, and he's so generous in helping other people in the lab. He loves working with other students. He's also a really brilliant scientist, so he's accomplished an extremely challenging project that honestly I did not know whether we would be able to make this project work. We had a grant for it, and I was extremely nervous about the likelihood of its success, and he's made it work and come up with a beautiful publication from it. So that's just wonderful to see, yeah.
Dr. Cech has impacted my education a lot, more than I anticipated. When I joined Cech Lab, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. You couldn't even tell me what field I wanted to work in, and I'm just from where I was to where I am now, there's been a lot of progress. Talking to Dr. Cech, I've gotten so many opportunities. Now I received a grant from the undergraduate research expo from doing my work in her lab. I was able to present at ASP. I was invited to a couple of conferences. I was recently invited to North Carolina Department of Toxicology conference that's happening in Durham from someone who Dr. Cech put me in connection with. It makes it feel more worth it. Whenever I do struggle in classes or just struggle in general, I'm okay, but you've worked this hard and so many people are behind you now. So there's really more motivation to keep up what I've been doing, I guess, in lab.
I've loved working with Empress. She has been extremely driven and very, very fast to pick up scientific concepts. Super bright. She wrote a grant that was funded for the work that she's doing this fall. She's studying plants and trying to understand how molecules from plants can be used to treat infectious disease. We've gone on some trips collecting ferns in the woods together for her projects. We've gone to a research conference together. It's just been really great to get to know her, and she has developed tremendously as a scientist in her time in my group and will continue to do so. I can't wait to see what she does next.
Some people have already a clear mind in their, like they have a clear plan. But even if you're not very clear with your plans, she can drive that path of yours. Like she knows how to direct you to the right path. And she'll give you all the resources that you need. She's going to be very supportive with whatever you're doing. She lets you do your thing. Of course, she expects results and productivity, but there's no pressure. So it's like you're more inspired to giving her this than like, oh my god, I feel like I have to produce this for her. Like for example, when you take a class, usually people are afraid of classes because they're like, oh my god, what if I fail or something like that. But you don't feel that pressure in her classes because she has this skill to, to help you learn without the added pressure of like, am I doing it right? You know what I mean? Because she makes learning enjoyable.
I'm looking into going into probably a PhD program as opposed to a master's program, and that is solely because I was able to do research in Cech Lab, because most of master's programs or your master's degree is spent doing research or kind of receiving that kind of experience. By the time I graduate, I've spent 2 years in a research lab, and then it kind of puts me at a position where I'm almost at an advantage, where it's like, you've done this research, you have, these XYZ projects under your belt. But I'm looking into grad school for either pharmacology or toxicology, which originally wasn't my plan. My original plan was only just like, oh, I'm just gonna go to school for biochem, go to grad school, don't know what kind of grad school. Working in like a natural products lab has kind of like pushed me from that path. And I want to look into a PhD just because I want a little bit of independence when it comes to like the research that I want to do, because I do want to continue working in research, but I want a little bit more independence on like projects and things like that, maybe making my own decisions, like what kind of projects that we're working on. But in terms of like my a very specific niche like career hasn't really been narrowed down for me.
Right now, I'm already in the crossroads because I'm graduating. I've worked mostly in the academia, although I also did work in the industry. And I really love teaching. Like, I really do enjoy being with students. But personally, I am a scientist. As long as I'm working in a laboratory and I'm doing science, any work that is related to what I'm doing right now, which is using a mass spectrometer, would probably work for me. So after I graduate, I plan to work in the industry that uses tools like a mass spectrometer. It could be in a different application. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the towards drug discovery route, but as long as I'm using the tools that I've learned here, I guess that'll be good. But if also I get an opportunity to be able to teach, then that'll be also good.